You're tuned in to the Binge It Babe podcast with your host, me, Candace Estelle. All right, babes, let's get binging. Hey, hi, hello, and how are you, babes? It's October 16th. We've got our mug, we've got our sweater, we've got a very nippy chill in the air, and we've got Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2 for you today. Now, I love these movies, okay? I adore them, but I do want to let you guys know ahead of time that they are rated 30 out of 31 pumpkins. And because scales are weird, keep in mind that that means that it's towards the end, not at the beginning. I really do enjoy these movies. They are still in my top 31. However, I watched these movies specifically with my tiny son, Bertolli, who is my dog. And he's not my dog anymore. And this is the first year that I don't get to hang out with him for spooky season. And we don't watch all of these things together. And we don't get to watch Scooby-Doo together. I do have my other dog, Domino. Domino's in no way, shape, or form a replacement for Bert. He could not possibly be. For one, Bert is like the best, coolest, chillest, cuddliest dog, and Domino is the opposite. He is also the best dog because all dogs are the best. However, Domino is not cool, he is not chill, and he is not overly cuddly. Like if I'm holding Domino, he'll be like, "That's great, I'm done now," and then he'll just leave. And sometimes he'll leave the room. And you'll constantly hear me getting after him because he's a barky, barky bad boy. Now, do I love Domino with everything in my whole being? Absolutely. Do I love Bert with everything in my whole being? Absolutely. And I had Bert longer than I've had Domino. So Bert and I kind of started this tradition right away, right after we got him, which is that I wanted to see if Bert enjoyed watching dog movies with me, 101 Dalmatians or Scooby-Doo or like Oliver and Company. And the one that really stuck for us was Scooby-Doo. Mostly the first one. We do like the second one, but he did prefer the first one. And it was just this thing that we did every year. Bert and I, we watched Scooby-Doo together. And I don't get to do that with him this year. And so it's a lower rating because I because I miss my dog. And I wish I had him still. And I definitely thought I was going to be able to keep it together. And that's okay. Maybe one day Bert will see this and he'll know that I didn't leave him and that I love him a whole bunch and I miss him. Okay, I'm back. We just have to kind of keep trucking here. So here's the thing. I would re-record that so that you don't have to see me be really emotional. But two things. One, there's no shame in being emotional or sensitive, and I think it's really important for people to get to see that in a very real way. Also, I needed my privacy, so I did stop it because I don't want to just cry on camera because I don't feel like it. I'm not live, so I can take a moment to myself for a couple minutes. Two, there's no way. There's no way that I'm going to get through it without being upset or crying or anything. Bert was my dog for like 6 years, and this is my first season without him hanging out with me. And we, like I said, this was a big thing for us. We did it every year. I would do a Scooby-Doo voice with him, and he would hold my hand because he's the cuddliest dog that's ever lived. And we would eat popcorn together, and I would share with him, but we wouldn't tell someone else. And so we, that was like our thing, is we ate snacks and watched Scooby-Doo together. And when we got Domino, Bert didn't really care for it, but he tolerated it. And the problem is that hates Domino hates everything, and it's really frustrating. Like, I love this freaking dog so much, but I can't watch Animal Planet or Jurassic Park or anything that has an animal in it because he protests. And so Scooby is actually really hard to watch in my house because Domino gets upset. Like, I don't know if it's upset or if I don't know what it is. And you know what? He's a friendly little dog. Like, he's so sweet. But the existence of anything outside of me annoys him to no end. And I get it. I too am an introvert, but it's annoying as hell because I love Animal Planet. Or like there was this show that I didn't even get to watch more than like the first half of the first episode of, which was like the like Discovery Channel's Big Cats. And it's because if I'm watching it, he'll just scream the whole time and he's like "Barr, barr, 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 barr," and I'm like, dude, you're not the only dog in the world. And then I'll take him to the dog park and he won't play with the other dogs. He'll just like look at them from a distance. He's strange, okay? In terms of like how I would qualify him, he's Paul Anka the dog, which is the dog that Lorelai Gilmore Girls gets in Gilmore Girls. Um, Also a strange little dog that has a whole bunch of quirks. That's Domino through and through. And I love him, but he won't watch Scooby Doo with me. And actually, he will protest while I try to watch it. And Bert loved it. Bert would sit with me and we would cuddle and we would eat snacks. And then the first one would happen. And there's a part, and I'll get to it again, but I want to get through all the Bert stuff now so that I can move through it. Um, but like, there's one part where Scooby is gonna get sacrificed, and then I would always be holding Bert because he was a little dog, and I would be like, "Uh oh, you're gonna get rackerized," and then Bert would look at me, and then I'd say rackerized, but for Bert, because Scooby really has a hard time pronouncing his s's, so he'll go a rackerized, and then he'll go hee, and then I would tickle Bert's belly. Um, And those are all really good, really fond memories. And I wouldn't take them back for anything. But they are hard to think about because I don't get to do that anymore and probably don't get to do that ever again. Uh, but I know that he's with someone that that loves him a lot and that'll take really good care of him, hopefully. And um, hopefully that still tells him that I love him. Jesus Christ. It's Scooby Doo. You gotta be able to get through Scooby Doo, bro. Okay. Okay. I am going to do my best to get through this. And I definitely thought that I wouldn't um cry as much because I am silly, I guess. Yeah, I love my dog. I love Domino and I love Bert and I miss Bert basically every single day. And I think about him every single day. And I especially think about him during Scooby Doo because that was our thing. Even got him like a little Scooby Doo charm for his collar. And and I don't think I'm ever going to not miss him. And that's okay because I think that all of the missing him, even though he's alive, is just that I have love still for him. It's just the love left behind. And I love that little dog um so much. His he was so needy and annoying and I just miss it so much. And he's definitely super cuddly and if I really want to cuddle now, I'm out of luck because Domino is not cuddly. He's sweet. He just wants to be left alone, which I understand. He's a lot like me. And Aspen and Charlie are cats, so I can only cuddle them for so long before they're like, okay, that's enough out of you. Okay. Did you ever think that you would be watching a woman in her 30s cry because of Scooby Doo, the live action movie from 2002? If that's on your 2024 bingo card, then you're a witch, and congratulations on your immense power. Can you please help me in other aspects of my life? Okay, okay, we're moving on because Bert is okay. He's fine. Hopefully, he's super happy. Um, okay, okay. Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed were like early 2000s movies. They came out when I was a kid. I actually remember the first time I saw Scooby-Doo because my mom was out of town and my little sister and I were watching it with who was watching us, and he really wanted us to go to bed, so he let us eat all the candy we could, which basically meant that we had a sugar high for about 10 minutes and then passed out. Uh, and then I didn't see the movies again until I until I got Bert, because like I said, I wanted to see if he liked any movies with dogs, and that's the one that we vibed with the most. Um so Scooby Doo is really excellent. It's if you don't know, Scoobert Doobert Doo, that's his, good Christian name, is like supposed to be a Great Dane, and it's obviously a cartoon. I think from as early as like the 60s. Maybe it's earlier, but I'm not 100% positive on the fact that I like am not from that time. But it was the super popular like Hanna-Barbera cartoon, which if you're unsure of who Hanna-Barbera is, they were like a cartoon company that I think Cartoon Network either like consumed or like bought. That's a better word because consumed sounds a little bit ominous, but or at least like it's a production company that Cartoon Network would like play their cartoons. They also did, the Flintstones and Johnny Bravo. um Jeez. uh I keep wanting to apologize for being so emotional, and then I have to remind myself that it's okay to have emotions that aren't just giddy, happy, silly, good fun times. Um, which I know that logically, but it's hard to accept when this is stuff that goes out for other people to see. And like I said, I would absolutely redo it, but I think that that would be um, dishonest, and also it's going to be impossible for me to get through it normally. So what would be the point of starting over? I'll probably get worse, you know, or more emotional. Okay. I love you, Bert. I hope you see this one day and you know that I didn't leave you. Um and that you're the best dog in the world. You didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. Okay. Um So Scooby Doo, like I said, was a cartoon, still is a cartoon, continues to be several more cartoon movies. Like I think in 2020 or 2021, Zac Efron was in a cartoon Scooby Doo, and he was Fred. And I really like Zac Efron. I think he's great, and he seems like an absolute sweetheart. But in my brain, I was just like, I can hear that that's Zac Efron. So maybe for little kids it wasn't as frustrating, but for me, I wouldn't even say frustrating. It was just like, but I can hear that that's Zac Efron. I know what that man's voice sounds like, and that's what I am hearing. Um, so it kind of took me out of it a little bit. I think it's the same thing where like when I watched What We Do in the Shadows, it's actually the inverse of it, where Kristen Shaw plays the guide in that TV show. But I love Bob's Burgers, and I watch a lot of Bob's Burgers, and she is Louise in Bob's Burgers. And um in Bob's Burgers, she's Louise. She has the same voice in What We Do in the Shadows because she's a human being, so it's just her human voice. And I keep being like, Louise, you cannot say things like that. That is filthy. You are a child. And I'm like, that is a human being, and you have to separate it. You have to, but I have a hard time, especially with voices that I like recognize for some reason. Um, Zac Efron's, I for sure recognize. I was like, I know you, dude. I've seen basically everything you've done. Actually, I probably haven't seen a lot of his newer stuff because I didn't watch a lot of movies and TV for a couple years, or anything new. But I watched that because I love Scooby Doo and I am a fan of Zac Efron. But it messed with me, man. It messed with my brain. Okay, so Scooby Doo, the live action, is phenomenal. Like it is a well known part of the internet that it is some of the best casting Hollywood has ever done. And if you're thinking a live action movie about a TV cartoon dog who can do that like solves crimes with his gang, yeah, bro, it's one of the best castings that's ever happened. Because okay, Sarah Michelle Gellar. Also, here's the thing: the casting that they chose was absolutely like phenomenal. Okay, phenomenal for so many reasons. For one, perfect casting through and through. Couldn't have done a better job. Two, the people that they chose also happened to be really, really big in the 90s, and this movie came out in the 2000s. So these people were still decently big, but more so big for the people who now were parents who were taking their children to see this movie, right? So it's like, hey, parents, there's something there for you too, because we've got Buffy the Vampire Slayer and everybody's heartthrob, Freddie Prinze Jr. And they're also married in real life, and they're kind of a couple in the movies because Daphne and Fred are kind of a thing, but it's never really like explicit, I feel like. It is more in the second one, but like in the cartoon, it's more just like, oh, Fred, haha, and then he's got his like ascot looking like just a cool guy. Um, and then Linda Cardellini as Velma. Okay, so Sarah Michelle Gellar, who you'll know as being Sarah Michelle Gellar, is also Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then she's Daphne. And like, yeah, she is. 100%. Great job. And then you've got Freddie Prince Jr. as Fred. Absolutely. And then you've got Linda Cardellini, who, by the way, phenomenal, beautiful woman who is like doing more now. Like she did Dead to Me with Christina Applegate. Christina Applegate. Ooh, her name doesn't sound real to me right now. I know that it is real. I really like Christina Applegate too. Um, is that her name? It has to be. My brain is being silly. I'm short circuiting. She's cool. She's also in the Avengers as Hawkeye's wife, Laura. I don't know. I just like her. She's just got a vibe where I just feel like I could sit next to her and feel really comfortable and like chilled out the whole time. And as Velma, she nails it. Like she's got the look down, and I think it's adorable. And then we come to the granddaddy of all castings, Matthew Lillard as Shaggy Roberts. And if you're just like, whoa, that's his last name, that is his last name. Um, and oh my God, is that the best casting ever? Okay. That is the best casting that has ever happened in the history of ever. Matthew Lillard is Shaggy like tenfold. You've got some casting where you're just like, that was perfect and it can never be replicated or done again. I would say that is Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. That is Heath Ledger as the Joker. That is Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Let me think of a woman who's perfectly cast. Now I feel like an ass. Because my mind is immediately drawing a blank. I am a feminist. I'm just having a hard moment. A woman that's perfectly cast. I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar, but it's not on the same level, right? Like, was she perfect for Daphne? 100%. Um, Christina Ricci and Jenna Ortega as Wednesday Addams. And you're thinking, well, that negates the conversation. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because even though Christina Ricci did it first and did it perfect, um, Jenna Ortega also does a very good job. And it's a different direction. So I think it's fine. Okay. They're great. I've been watching so much Halloween stuff. I can't think of really anything outside of that realm. And if you're thinking, oh well, you thought of like Iron Man, I'm never not thinking about Iron Man. Okay, I watched a lot of Marvel. Iron Man is like my favorite because that was the first one, and Robert Downey Jr. was my favorite. Okay, you want to see me cry again? Let's talk about Endgame because I can't watch that movie without crying. And in the theater, I just sat there and wept like a grown up. That is who I am. Oh, you know what? I also cried during Spider Man Homecoming. And what other movies have made me cry? Because we can now add Scooby-Doo to the list. La La Land made me cry. I was very upset with that ending. I know it's poignant and blah, 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 blah. It made me miserable. I hate this trope of like, you can have it all, or you can have the love of your life, but you can't have the career and the love. Ugh. Or like, they were only good for each other for this small amount of time. Ugh, just let me have love. Let me believe in it all the way through. The Theory of Everything made me cry really hard. Interstellar makes me tear up. A lot of stuff makes me tear up. I'm a sensitive little bean. What are we talking about? Oh, Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. Best Shaggy they could have ever done. He does such a good job that I think he's even like they even paid him to be like a for an advertisement for the Mystery Inc. van like Airbnb rental that you can do. He's super into it. I love that. And he needs that redeeming, storyline because the newest thing I've seen him in is Good Girls, and I don't like him in that. So it was nice to remember that, oh, he's also Shaggy. And he's pretty fun in Without a Paddle. And I know that he's a murderer in the Scream series, but I don't really care because he's got the best line, which is, I'm feeling woozy. Oh, man. Or, my mom's gonna be so mad. I really like Matthew Lillard actually. Add him to the list. I enjoy his filmography. Um anyway, so we've got the absolute best casting. And then we've got some cute little storylines. First Scooby-Doo is that the gang, is solving mysteries and then they're on the news and then they all kind of like break off because they get in an argument basically and Velma wants to feel more valued because Fred kind of is a glory hound and Daphne doesn't like that she's seen as like the damsel in distress who can't do anything. And then, Fred is Fred. So he's just like, well, fine, if that's how you feel. And then Shaggy and Scooby are just standing there and they're just like, what happened? We're not going to be friends anymore, basically. And then, I don't know, it's kind of sad because Shaggy's like, no, Scoob, we got to go do something else. By the way, just so we're clear, canonically, Shaggy is like filthy rich. Just thought I'd throw that in there. It just cracks me up because him and Scooby go and live in the Mystery Inc. van for a little while. And then they are hired by a mysterious benefactor, which is Mr. Bean, Rowan Atkinson, to come to the island that's like a new amusement park and figure out what is happening. And then they're all hired individually, and so they all show up. One of the goofiest, all of the scenes with Scooby are goofy. Okay, they're goofy, they're not believable, and they don't try to be believable. And I think that's what makes them extra fun. Like Scooby at the airport standing by Bertolli while he is pretending to be a grandma but stealing people's snacks. Classic Scooby Doo. Okay. And then Shaggy's just being like, yeah, this is a total normally thing that's happening right here. It's no big deal. Whatever, whatever. And then they all see each other at the airport and they're like, well, I'm going to solve this mystery first. It's very Daphne. And they end up trying not to work together, but no one's actually mad at Scooby and Shaggy. So they kind of get to be a part of everyone's group. And then obviously friendship prevails and they have to come back together and put back together, the gang, the mystery solving crew. And they have to defeat whatever the evil is on the island. And I wasn't allowed to watch this with some of my family members because they were very upset about the fact that the monsters were real in the Scooby Doo movies, and that was anti Christian. Okay, seems a little harsh to me because at the end of the day, we're all still watching a cartoon with a talking dog. So that's magic right there, but let's ignore that. Um, yeah, spoiler alert, the monsters are real in this. And I don't know, it's silly, it's a goofy good time. Scooby and Shaggy are like my absolute favorites. Um this is also when we figure out that the whole thing they have to do a sacrifice for someone with the purest soul. And so that is Scooby Doo. And if that's not the cutest thing and completely accurate to dogs, I don't know what is, because Scooby is being treated like a little prince and he's being like waited on hand and foot. And then Shaggy's like, Scoob, we got to get you out of here, man. Like, zoinks. He's like, he's like, you're going to be sacrificed. And then that's when Scooby goes, Rackarist. And it's like, oh, I don't know why that part cracks me up so much. Oh, Rackarist. He's got his little, like, he's, I don't know, being carried around. It's so cute. We get Daphne getting to not be the damsel in distress, but being very powerful and, like, all, woman power and fighting baddies, and Velma putting her brain to work. And I don't really know what Fred's purpose is. He's the leader of the group, but I think that's more just because he's the one who chats the most. I feel like that's very much so the case, and a lot of times it's like, who's the leader? The guy who's always talking. The yapper is the leader. They don't bring much else to the table. I mean, he's fine, but like whatever. It's just Fred. Um, and then Shaggy and Scooby obviously getting into like nonsense, like a farting belching contest, and then they get caught by Daphne, and it's just so funny. It's so funny. I know that it's not supposed to be funny for me as an adult, but I every time I watch it, I'm just like, you boys are so silly, silly boys. Like when I think of boys being boys, I think of Shaggy and Scooby Doo, where they're just eating all the snacks and farting up a storm and thinking it's hilarious, and then sometimes it is. I also love that Shaggy and Scooby are always terrified of what's going on. Like they don't want to be fighting monsters. They don't really want to be doing mystery things, but they're a part of the gang. Um, so 10 out of 10, a very fun children's movie. If you have a child, watching it with them, I think will be enjoyable. If you watched it as a child, I think it'll be enjoyable. And if you have a little angel dog that likes to watch movies, Scooby-Doo is high up there. And then Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, is way more reminiscent for people who watched the cartoon. Like, if you actively watch the cartoon, this is going to be more fun for you, I think, because all of the monsters that they have fought and put away, like all the bad guys that they've unmasked in Coolsville, is like they all come back. You know, you get like Minor 49er and that globby big guy, and you know, the scary diver. So you get all of the classic Scooby monsters back, and they have to fight them and face, you know, face all the evils. By the way, in the first movie, the bad guy does end up being Scrappy Doo, and I think that nothing could track more than the fact that Scrappy Doo is the bad guy, because I don't trust Scrappy Doo. I don't like him. I said what I said. He's a bad dog. Um. So yeah, in the second one, they're unveiling like the Mystery Inc. museum, basically. Hello. Oh, pardon me. Well, come back here. I'll pick you up. 1 second. We've got someone who wants to say hello. Yes, I hear you. You meow quite a bit. Come on. Oh, Aspen. What? Got a little purring cat. Do you have lots to purr about, little girl? Do you want to say it to the camera? That's my tea. So they're unveiling the museum, and then all of a sudden they're attacked by the pterodactyl ghost, and then they figure out that all of the monsters are real. So once again, with both of these movies, the monsters don't end up needing to necessarily be unmasked because the monsters themselves are real. It's just like, who's the puppeteer? Who's the puppeteer? Do you know? Okay. Um, and then this is also kind of more heartbreaking because Shaggy and Scooby realize how much they kind of end up being like mess ups, you know? Like, oh, we only ever get stuff right when we're doing it on accident, and they feel really bad about themselves, so they're trying to solve the mystery without telling the gang. Thank you. Um, which I always find really cute because they're like, we gotta get it. We gotta get it, Scoob. And the Scoob's like, rah! Yeah, I don't know why that cracks me up so much, but it absolutely does. And then they kind of break off. They obviously get in trouble because, you know, you need the whole team together. And then the team kind of gets mad at them, and they're just like, we're screw ups. And, you know, we're not worthwhile. And they get upset. And then they decide to try again because the team all believes in them. And then one of the mean monsters, the globby monster, at the end is like, you're worthless. And Scooby takes that as a like takes offense to it, and he's like, and then he blasts him with a fire extinguisher. And I don't know, it's really cute. I think it's a really good message for children that like you have value no matter what, even if you're a silly little dog. Can you guys hear her purring? Wouldn't that be so sweet? Doesn't look like you can. Let's see. Can you please purr into the mic? Thank you, madam. That's gold right there. I think that's a great way to end our Scooby-Doo episode, huh? With little purrs. I really like these movies. They are 30 out of 31 pumpkins. If you didn't grow up watching them or you don't have children, they're probably not for you unless you really liked Scooby-Doo as a kid, and maybe these will be a fun nostalgia hit. Um, they're not very long. They're children's movies, so they're family friendly for anyone. The casting is fantastic. The acting is exactly what you want it to be, not like fantastic in terms of like them being mind-blowing, but kind of cartoonish and goofy, and I think that that's really fun. The second one also has like Seth Green in it, which is kind of fun. Um, yeah, overall, happy to watch them. I love them. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I love you. And I love you, Bert. This one's for you, bud.